Make it louder, or do we have to still be loud?
Evening, everybody. So, Will's already introduced me. I'm Maggie. I was one of Team Ithaca from last year. So I was asked by Sophie to ask the questions to the team on the theory that I've lived it, so I kind of know what. I think you have to sometimes have lived it and been in it to understand what you've been through, so I could maybe ask some hard questions. But to loosen you up and get you going, I want to ask some quick fire round questions first of all. So I want you to point to the person that it is, that it was. So first of all, who's the team captain? All point. There you are. So that's the first one, the easy one. Who had the worst playlist? Oh. Who had the best? Who had the best playlist?
Joe had a good one.
Pointing to yourself is very confident. Who had the best snack packs?
Oh. We're all the same, right?
Yeah. No, do you all the same snack packs?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Might come back to that. Anyway, so the first question that we've got and we'll start with Skips. What was the most memorable or rewarding part of the journey?
Finishing. I think when we got across to Scotland, that's the 2 passages across the Irish Sea, which is quite nice for me to have behind me. And the weather turned really nice, and we went through the Isles. There was a lot of wildlife, beautiful weather. We got some power, managed to wash our clothes because we had water maker going again. So we all smelt better. We dried everything off. So that was a nice kind of break before we got hammered around the top and the side again.
Okay, so one more quick fire round question. Who was the smelliest?
Maybe.
So let's pass on to Skipper's choice, pass on the mic to the next person, or are you keeping it in the middle?
Depends what the question is.
So how did you prepare mentally for this challenge and the relentlessness of it?
So I think a big thing was all speaking through what would be like a worst case scenario for you and what you do. And we classically, being Coastal Odyssey, left that till the night before. And we sat in a pub and we all spoke it through and we all agreed on what we would do. And then I think in the run up to it, sort of back when we were planning, we would all make sure that we were open in our communication and the reason for that. And we all had a certain level of training, which meant that the skipper could tell us something and we would understand, and he wouldn't need to explain things in tiny pieces. So we had that from the beginning, just to make sure we all knew what we were getting ourselves into and what we were doing at each stage during the row. Anyone got anything to add for that? Good.
So I'm assuming since you got round, you were successful, the worst case did not happen, but there was always a bad day. So does anybody want to talk about a day that didn't go to plan and how that made you feel?
Which one?
I mean, I can start with the first day that didn't go to plan, which was about a day out from the Thames, and we were coming up on Margate. So yeah, we hadn't really gone very far. The wind had turned on us. We had a massive headwind. The swell was coming in from a really awkward angle, and the tide had changed and was pushing us back. And we started to move much closer and closer towards the coastline of Margate, which was effectively just loads of really sharp rocks. So we threw out an anchor. That didn't hold us. We threw out another anchor. It wasn't really holding us. So we also started to row. That wasn't really holding us. We were desperately just sort of counting down the time until the tide sort of turned and started to help us, and then we started to row really, really hard and the bed of Margate, and yeah, with 5 oars, because we did. Joe felt like he didn't need that oar, or it wasn't working for him, so we got him a replacement, and yeah. Someone in Margate has it. Lucky them.
So we were watching you, and we thought you were jealous of our holiday last year on the Isle of Sheppey, and you were going round to visit.
Yeah, we'd love to have stopped. And
tried to get in there.
Yeah, the tide didn't allow us to go in, so yeah.
Trust me, it's not somewhere I would recommend to go to. Then we'll go to the opposite, somebody else. So what was the best day, other than the final and the last coming in through the bridge on the last day? When you were actually out at sea, what was the best day?
The first thing that comes to mind is halfway point, getting to Isle of Skye Bridge. I think it took us far longer to get there than we thought it would. And we stopped just after Egg. And we were speaking to a boat and we were giving over our rubbish and we were just talking about how lovely it all was. And then it was just like team morale was just probably the best it was the whole trip, knowing that like that was halfway. It was then kind of the way home from there. I wish it was downhill from there, but it wasn't. It was it was still pretty long, but it was a beautiful day, and like I can still really clearly remember like just having whiskey, having street waffles, like, and just as a team watching the jellyfish and just taking photos, and it was just like, yeah.
But it is downhill for when you get to John and Groats, isn't it? So, how did you handle the physicality of being at sea for 49 days? Were there any injuries that anybody had to deal with?
Well, I was team medic. Most people dealt with it by sleeping for like 16 hours straight whenever they could, Joe. The physicality. We were lucky. We didn't have a lot of injuries on the boat. Mostly we had burns. So Adam burned his foot. Leah burned her leg from just boiling water trying to make food. So we had to deal with that. Patrick had some wrist problems with rowing, but I think he's exacerbating those now with your next rowing endeavours. We just kind of were open about things, and if there was a problem, people would say, and we'd try and get it sorted as quickly as possible, because it's one of those environments that if you leave things, you can't really leave things. You've got to, look after things properly.
Daisy turned up injured.
Daisy turned up injured, having fallen off her bike, and was.
As you just saw, I slept on this floor.
Yeah.
Like, accident prone.
It was a genuine calamity, yeah, from the start.
Every day.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm here, really.
So, I'm going to ask you about if there's any point that you thought you weren't going to make it. So I had a dream, and quite close to the end, that I decided I'd had enough and I was going home, and I went home, and in my dream I was home and woke up in a panic thinking I wasn't on the boat anymore. Did anybody?
I had exactly that.
Did you?
I had exactly that.
Tell us about what that made you feel like.
I actually did wake up and think that I was at home, and it was all over. It was really, really odd. So I was actually really glad to get on shift. I think that was the difference. But I think, it's all just a great experience. But do you guys want to add?
Did anybody else think about there's a point that you weren't going to make it?
Until we got back in the Thames, I thought at any point we might not make it. Just with the weather. So.
And with the additional responsibility as being skipper, how did that make you feel? And did you feel like you had to hide that from the team, or
I think
did you
ignorance
talk
is
about
bliss in some situations, yeah. Because you could be having a beautiful sunset, there's dolphins swimming around the boat, everyone's in heaven loving it, and you're thinking, there's a storm coming, we're losing speed, our time's out, you can't live in the moment, you're very much always ahead of it, which kind of ruins it, to an extent.
So did everybody else enjoy the moment then?
I think so.
Ignorance is sometimes bliss.
Yeah, so you don't want to ruin their moment by them saying that.
So who else got obsessed with watching the wind app, the tide app, or was it just you?
Me, Adam, Daisy just had to deal with it because she was in her cabin, learnt a fair bit. I'm not sure what happened in the other cabin, but a lot of the time we didn't have enough power to charge their phones, so they couldn't.
Mostly sleeping.
Mostly
sleeping, yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the snack packs. Nutrition is incredibly important in a challenge like this. So somebody want to talk through the nutrition prep and what you were going through before, and actually was the reality what you expected it to be?
Oh, Daisy got all the snacks.
I think the nutrition prep was calorie prep. I don't know, I'll let Daisy talk because she created the pack, but they not all of the things were there for nutrition for sure.
Yeah. I think having previously done the Atlantic, you don't ever stop, and you're forcing yourself to eat calories to be able to go on shift and push through whatever it is. Whereas this was completely different because we'd stop for potentially like 3 days at a time. And when you're stopped, you're just, we couldn't swim, we couldn't move, we couldn't really walk further than the other end of the boat. So you feel like you're eating these calories for the sake of it, and it's just not enjoyable. Obviously, I don't know about you guys, but like even like a week in, I mean, Adam would eat chicken korma tomorrow, but we really struggled with like variety, I guess, and like eating out of a bag. It's not nice, is it? So it's fine when you're pushing against like currents and everything to to have that energy, but when you're not, it's really quite deflating. Like eating, it's just like, why are we doing this?
We didn't select our food either. We bought it cheap off another team that was selling it, so we just got what we were given.
Oh, so my food, well, most of my food, I found a quartermaster in the army who had stuff to give away.
Yeah, so we had loads of army rations.
Yeah.
So it's brown, which is just not that appealing after a while.
It's not, but the beef burrito was it was absolutely spot on. So what was your favourite, when you got your snack pack, what was it, that's what's going to make my 10 minutes while I eat it?
Probably different for everyone.
Well, let's see what everybody
Mine
says.
was cola bottles.
I was about to say cola bottles, actually. Mine, what else was there? I actually really like cheese spread. So at first I thought that was disgusting, like in a packet. But on the boat, for some reason, I suddenly liked it until I realised at halfway, it's not cheese.
No.
No, it's not cheese.
So the army call it cheese possessed.
Yeah. It's not. No,
But it's got a
so
load of protein in it, so
Huge on protein.
hey.
yeah, Daisy would come to our cabin with some like new creation, and I tried that, and it was like the best thing on earth because our boat was earth. So, yeah.
Yeah, back-to-back chicken kormas. I didn't actually really enjoy them. I was just sort of taking one for the team. But yeah, breakfast, lunch, dinner for numerous days of just chicken
Winner.
korma.
Chicken korma for winners.
Any time of day, smash that back, not a problem.
For me, it was the freeze-dried apple crumble, which was delish, actually. Had that most breakfasts. But yeah, the chicken korma. Oh, Adam, you really did take one for the team.
Go on, Joe, tell us about the meal that you...
Oh, I feel there's a story here.
Not really, no.
Make it a story, make it a story.
There was one bit of food which I'd had and hadn't quite finished it, and I put it away for later, and later became later and later and later, until I kind of just fell into distant memory. And then about a week later, we realised it was there because it was smelling quite bad. So we had to do a bit of a clean up in the bow of the boat.
eDNA in there.
Yeah.
Did you save it for the team? Oh, okay, very good. I mean, the food and nutrition is what makes it as well. Are there any, for anybody that was aspiring GB rowers or Atlantic or ocean rowers, any bit of clothing that you would say that actually, you know, that was good, we should have taken that, or we shouldn't have taken something else?
Dry rope. But that's for the GB row. Dry rope. Very useful.
I think the item of the item of clothing I found to be the best was some waterproof socks. Absolutely golden. Feet stayed dry all the time.
They are actually on the raffle table, and Joe's actually wearing them there proudly. Bright yellow.
Yeah.
That's actually part of his personality.
Yeah, to be honest, the lightweight gill jacket that we had with the lightweight gill jacket that we got through GB Row was absolutely brilliant. You don't always want to wear your full foul weather gear, and it's really big, bulky, heavy, and so just a nice lightweight waterproof jacket. But yeah, that
I know
was
you're still
worth its
wearing
weight in
it.
gold.
I'm wearing
Still got
mine
it,
all
yeah.
the time.
I wear it around London all the time.
Just like strut around showing
Yeah.
your GB row stuff.
Oh, this? Yeah, no, just
Yeah.
GB Row. Guinness World Record.
Right. So, how many of your family do you think got obsessed with dot watching? I mean, it's a real thing.
Oh, so I managed the family WhatsApp group whilst we were away, which was amazing and provided so much entertainment from all the, like, quite a lot of them are here actually, but the family members who were contributing to that chat, and some of the messages were just absolutely priceless. And we would read them out on the boat and they would really cheer everybody up. So I think they were all totally obsessing about the dot watching. But the biggest obsession was about when we were going to come back. And we couldn't give any clarity on when we were going to come back. And that WhatsApp group was like, are you coming back? Like, can you just give us a vague idea? Is it going to be Sunday? Is it going to be Saturday? And then my sister said, well, can you not come in at 6:30 in the morning? Because, you know, that's really inconvenient. And I was like, we're going to come in when we come in, Kate. Like, you're just going to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, that was quite entertaining.
And I can see from experience, next year, you will have a horrific time dot watching the next teams that do it, because I would go into work and complain, oh my God, this is what they're doing, this is where they are, I don't know what's going on. And it's so frustrating because you're not there. And all my mates were going, well, that's what we did last year. So they had no sympathy. So I've got a question from Team Ithaca. What would, if you were going to do it again, when you were starting from scratch today and you were planning to go next year, what would you do differently?
I'll take more biscuits.
Biscuits? Any particular type of biscuits?
Any biscuit. Hobnobs.
I
variety is the key.
highly recommend mini cheddars. They were
mini cheddars were your favourite.
Some of those.
Did you? I was generally made happier with mini cheddars, and then I regretted not having enough mini cheddars. So what is your tips if somebody else is sat here thinking, oh, I fancy having a go at that next year? What's your number one tip?
Number one tips, I would say, having a certain level of understanding of the nautical side of things and sufficient training, which obviously GB Row make sure that you have, and the equipment. I've actually made a little TikTok that I think Sophie might be able to play, which is about some of the essential items that we brought that were really great and we each used. They're my tips.
A good playlist is essential. Lots of variety and different music. You'll get bored of it quite quickly.
Did you introduce anybody in the team to something completely new?
Well, Leah probably learned all the songs from the 80s
Very
she
good.
hadn't heard before. A lot of ABBA was going on as well.
Anybody else?
I think pick your team wisely, because we sort of tried to pick a team that was really laid back, to the extent that we were packing our boat 3 minutes before we left. But, you know, that was kind of our style a little bit. We were very laid back about it all. But I think we were very uninflammatory sort of personalities, and that allowed us to just work through things and not get stressed about things. So it really helped us achieve it, I think, because having the right team was really important for us.
Yeah, I would say that's the most important thing, because it makes the difference to every day, how you deal with any kind of situation. And yeah, like Hannah put up with me accidentally spitting my toothpaste out all over my face one day and just laughed it off. Like, yeah, it's
Well, worse things happen at sea.
yeah, true, yeah.
I think for me, so when I was starting the team last year, just going that first step and making some inquiries, putting some notices out. If you're debating it or thinking about whether you want to do the challenge, then just give it a go, see where it leads, and I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at the direction it goes and the journey you go on.
So has your view on life challenges, how you tackle something difficult changed since you have done the row?
Yeah, I mean, I've given up rowing. Yeah, I'm taking up sailing now. It's far easier. There's a toilet on board. There's a shower. There's a full galley, a soft bed, a fridge. You could have a glass of wine. You can walk around. You can enjoy the view, and you don't have to row.
I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, now that you've set your incredible world record, What is next for you, other than you've taken up sailing, obviously?
Oh, yes.
Oh, me.
More rowing.
Next month I'm going to row the Atlantic, and next summer the Pacific.
In the summer, did you say?
Next summer, yeah. Trying to do all 3 in a year.
3 rows in,
Yeah.
You're going to need some really big snapbacks
Yeah, I think
and biscuits.
I booked them all before I did the GB row, so I'm regretting it all now. Hannah just ran an ultra today before she came here.
I did, yes.
That's just a bit overachieving.
Yeah, sorry. You were off around the world, weren't you?
Me and my boyfriend are planning a cycle around the world. Like maybe next year. And Leah is...
Oh, yeah.
I'm going on Wednesday to a hotter country, a sunnier one, that's for sure. My partner and I are going to New Zealand, and then to travel, and then moving to Australia to progress our careers. So, new chapter.
Once you get to New Zealand, you'll never want to leave.
Yeah, I do want to add though as well. Sorry for Joe. So one thing that lots of people do is go on the rowing erg and train for these types of things. It's an absolutely hideous bit of kit. Joe, what are you planning on doing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a challenge that hopefully I'll do over Christmas or in the new year. But essentially, rowing about a million meters as quick as possible. Which I've done the maths, and it's about 20 hours a day at a reasonably
Why?
moderate pace. Well, I just enjoy the rowing.
Hates Christmas.
I mean, I did everything in my power to avoid going on that rowing machine. I've
really quite enjoyed it. I don't know what it is. I just enjoy it.
No. Well, good luck.
Keep us all posted.
And then what legacy do you hope that the world record leaves? I mean, obviously there's the environmental stuff as part of it as well, but not everybody that goes round GB Row finishes GB Row, or even ones that are out with GB Row. What other legacies do you think you should want to leave?
Daisy wants to inspire young people to get into them.
I think similar to doing the Atlantic, like we're not rowers. People are shocked when you say like don't get me wrong, you've done bits of rowing, but we're not like sorry, but we're not like Olympic rowers that want to take on this challenge. We are just normal everyday people that enjoy adventure and want to challenge ourselves. And I think that's like a key thing for inspiring younger generations to realize what is possible, and if you really put your mind to something, like what it can do. And I think this is incredible. And like when we went to Guinness World Records last week, you know, we want to be in that book for people to be able to look at it and be like, oh my God, they did this, but we collected data that was going to make a massive difference. So if anything, that's enough for me. Anyone else?
I think the power of a team is sometimes underestimated, but when you've got such a good team and everyone's committed to the same kind of goal, and no one really falters, then there's not really a limit to what you can achieve. So just believe in the power of a team, because it will blow your mind.
Anybody else?
Just to add to that, just the power of people all together. There's been some extremely generous people that have been involved in our journey, and all of our sponsors that have enabled us to do this. It quite often, like Joe said, comes from just an email, just inquiring, and you know, the person that gets that email the other side may have a passion, you know, might feel strongly about the same things that we do, and the only way that anything is ever achieved is by working together. There's people in any solo event behind that athlete. It's the family behind each of us that have, you know, enabled us to be here and get to the start line. So yeah, I just think have that passion, and the people around you. It can be strangers that will help you achieve your goals. So, you know, put something out there and go for it. Grab it with both hands.
And when you got back and you walked up the jetty and got to a lead point, what was the first thing you ate? Was it chicken korma?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, no, I did actually. I had a Guinness. Yeah, the first thing I had was a Guinness. And the second thing I had was a Guinness.
Yeah.
Then an apple.
and then champagne,
And then champagne.
then pizza.
Just a lot. Just everything.
Yeah, we didn't really have a proper meal till the next day where we all went for breakfast.
My sister actually passed us on some millionaire shortbread onto the boat whilst we were actually in the lock. That was incredible.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for answering your questions. Does anybody from the crowd have any question you want to ask the team? Or is there anything else that you would like to tell the crowd while they're all here listening to your every word?
Daisy, tell them about the toilet.
No, I just wanted to say anything. Don't say anything.
I think everyone's aware of the toilet situation. If you're not, it was a bucket.
Any question? There's a question.
2 questions. Did any of you dream persistently?
You have to sleep to dream, I
Oh,
think.
yeah. So good. So good.
I mean, you've heard of one of them, but I had the most vivid, crazy dreams, and I'd just come on to the oars and you guys would have a whole story about it. But I actually want to speak about Adam's daydreams. All of our daydreams, actually, but Adam's was my favourite because it was at night, and we're rowing along, and he goes, "God, I can't look that way," and we were like, "Why can't you look that way?" He was like, "There is a man in a suit with a flap cap just staring at me. He is bogging me out, and it's freaking me out, and it's dark, and it's like all a bit spooky. Like, where are you going to go?"
That's hallucination, it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's maybe where I was getting to. So Hannah thought that Adam kept dropping his oars and doing like a pancake and then picking it up again. And she was like, look, he done it again, he done it again.
I was like, no, I'm just rowing. You're
Yeah. And I
what
was...
are you talking about?
I was sure that there were lizards coming up the oars from the water, and we had wolves up in Scotland around all the hills. It sounded like wolves, but I had definitely some crazy dreams, and I actually wrote a diary of them. So yeah, it's cool to. I maybe share those with you guys.
Good idea.
What was your second question? Did you say you had 2?
Yeah. What have you found out about yourselves that you didn't really know
I'm not very good at
when
rowing.
you started?
Never rowed before, still not very good at it.
Got 2 more rows for practice.
Should have it down by then.
I don't know what's like. I'm not sure really what I think. I don't know. I just loved every minute of it, of that row, and I thought I'd be really frightened actually at certain points, and I wasn't. I think I found a bit of an inner steel of being in the sea, because it was quite an unfamiliar environment for me. So maybe I learned. And I think it was because I trusted these guys. So yeah, that was something I learned. Anything you learned?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking. I did, but...
For me, don't leave food for later. Eat it there and then. That's an important one. And then I think just knowing over time how much you can push when it really matters, and I think that was quite important when we were coming down the East Coast, when we could take advantage of some slightly more favourable conditions, just slightly.
I don't.
Well, we had wind against us the whole way, but everything else we managed to get a good rhythm. So just what I found out was just to how much you can kind of power on if you're determined and have a goal in mind. Yeah.
And I was gone.
I thought one. To appreciate like being in the moment far more, because I think all of us, like, we couldn't move any quicker than we were trying. We had to stop, and even though you've got phones and you're connected to like everyday life going on, you're also so far away from it, and you have time to think. And I think as soon as we stepped back into London, it's like it hits you like a brick wall, and it's like there's people everywhere, and you move with life really quickly and get consumed by everything. And it's you do just take a moment to, like, I think we were saying last time when we went to Guinness World Records that we haven't really like spoken much because we've just gone back to everyday like busy lives, and I think it's actually a bit of a shame when you think about how slowly it went, and that was 49 days of our lives. Yeah.
So one last question then, unless anybody else out there's got another question. Oh, there's one there. I'll ask this one, then I'll come to you. What was your favourite animal?
Puffins, yeah.
They're really awful at landing, aren't they?
Really
awful.
Very comical how they kind
Yeah.
of look like they don't think they're going to land and then just like splatting about.
Super cute.
Yeah, always put a smile on everyone's faces.
Hadn't realised they were quite so far down the east coast of Britain either.
I've seen them around southwest Wales. Yeah, and then we saw them
Off Lundy
predominantly, Lundy Islands, and then predominantly all the way
I think we
around the Scottish coastline, and then all the way to
the
quite
last one
far
we saw
south,
was Flamborough
way
Head.
south of,
Yeah.
Okay.
wherever that was.
If you could have all brought one item on the boat, no weight restrictions, what would it have been? Or even a person for that matter, but it can't be an outboard or a sail.
An Olympic rower would have been useful. Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean a toilet, a sit-down toilet, just something that flushes.
I thought you were going to say Gucci, so I'm going to have my dog. I would have brought my dog.
I don't know, I don't need much stuff in my life. I was quite happy on that boat with all the stuff we had. I need hugs. These guys are not big huggers.
yeah.
Daisy is. I'm a big hugger, and I've like struggled a bit. I would have brought something that would have hugged me whenever I needed it. Yeah.
No, we were like teddy bear.
Something warm and huggable.
Afterwards, I'll tell you about my cuddle blanket that I had with me.
I need one of those. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was pretty happy. I think when we were asked before, I said a book, and then Adam told me he had a book on board. So
I think I kind of had everything that I really needed. There wasn't anything I was particularly needing or wanting, so it was quite.
Other than a bin
Quite nice.
for your food that you didn't need.
Well, yeah, that was a bad idea. But yeah, no, I was quite happy with kind of a minimalist way. Just you only need what you require. And I had a book, so.
Oh, you had a book. Did you read it?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Anybody else got another question? No. Okay. Thank you very much for everybody for your answering the questions so honestly and openly, and congratulations on your world record, and just suck it up and enjoy it. And your WhatsApp groups will keep going because ours has, but you do need a break from everybody a little bit when you first get back, because the toilet is not fun, is it? Congratulations, and just live it and enjoy it. And anybody else is out there that you're going to do it soon. But I really, you guys next year when you're starting watching the dots for the next team that are doing it, good luck. It's not nice. It's not a fun experience. Thank you. Oh, you-